Aloha, I'm Terry Lilley, a marine biologist here in the Hawaiian Islands. I hope you enjoy my film. Bali is a beautiful island in Indonesia with many active volcanoes. We traveled there to scuba dive the famous Liberty Shipwreck on the far side of the island from the airport. Traveling across the island is just gorgeous. You go through terraced rice fields and beautiful lakes, and there are more motorcycles on the road than cars. Bali is primarily a Hindu religion and has gorgeous temples everywhere you go and shrines up and down most of the streets. It's very festive and the people are super warm. They will invite you right into many of their different religious areas to see their beauty and the connection with nature. And they protect all of the animals that live around the entire island, including monkeys. These monkeys frequent the religious sites and hang out on the walls, watch the people coming and going, have their babies there, and they even eat a lot of the leftover flowers that were put there by the religious folks coming to the Hindu temples. There are true dragons still living in Bali. These are the monitor lizards called the Asian water monitor lizard, and they get up to 6 feet long. In Bali, there's many gorgeous sunsets and so many special places to go and visit nature and all the beauty of the island. And they even have dances that go on parts of the island on a regular basis, and this one's called the turtle dance. This dance was to celebrate the captive hatching of a bunch of sea turtles that they let go out in the ocean to build up the sea turtle population. Super fun to watch, very romantic, and just shows again how the Balinese people are so highly connected with nature. Below the sea surface, Bali just comes alive with a huge variety of marine life. The Liberty Shipwreck is a Navy cargo ship that was sunk by the Japanese and run aground in World War II on the beach. Then later on, a volcano came along, erupted, and pushed the ship out into the water. So the ship is surrounded by sand, and it's 15 feet deep on one end and about 80 feet deep on the other end, and it makes an incredible habitat for marine life with this artificial reef. The local dive companies take divers out in very placid, calm water and dive on this wonderful dive site. The ship is surrounded by sand where you see these blue spot stingrays. The sunken ship makes caves for fish to hide in. It's just excellent habitat for all kinds of different reef creatures. Around the ship are these schools of sweetlips. These are called the Indonesian diagonal banded sweetlips. There must have been 100 of these 18-inch long fish that were cruising around the perimeter of the ship. In the caves, there's these ribbon sweetlips. They just cruise around real slow looking for little crustaceans to eat. They have no fear of people. There are 5 angelfish species that live on the Liberty Shipwreck. This one's a beautiful regal angelfish. These angelfish are mostly algae eaters and little crustaceans, and so they're always picking at the ship for food. This one's a yellow-masked angelfish. It's the largest one that gets about 20 inches long. Semicircle angelfish. Everywhere you go on this shipwreck is an angelfish, and they're absolutely gorgeous. These are the emperor angelfish. Around the edge of the shipwreck, you'll see schools of spadefish. This is a pennant spadefish. There are also lots of these gigantic anemones that grow on the shipwreck, and they're filled with clownfish, from false clownfish to these red and black clownfish, all the way to these black and white Sabay anemone fish. They have different sexes and sizes with different colors. They're immune to the stinging cells of the anemone, so they hide in the anemone for protection. There's also lots of lionfish on and near the shipwreck. This is the big long-spined lionfish that's in the shallow water and the grass around the shipwreck. And then the beautiful short-finned lionfish. All these lionfish have poisonous spines, so you want to stay away from them and not touch them. This is a zebra lionfish and then the spot-finned lionfish. There's probably 100 different lionfish that live on or near this Liberty shipwreck. This one's a leaf scorpionfish and then a really funny looking paddle flap scorpionfish. There are all kinds of puffer fish that live around the shipwreck. This one's called the map puffer. It gets about 20 inches long. They have huge teeth and they actually bite entire pieces off the shipwreck and digest them for food. These large midnight snappers are very common around the shipwreck. They'll hang out in the cargo hold with different types of fish and other types of surgeonfish, and also you'll see them in big schools around the perimeter of the shipwreck. This is a really cool looking ornate ghost pipefish, and then the little zebra snout seahorse. They live in the grasses around the ship and they eat shrimp. This is the beautiful striped surgeonfish. They're just incredibly colorful. They're very common around the entire shipwreck and one of the most beautiful fish we have here. This is the big-nosed unicorn fish. It's a type of surgeonfish. Here it's being cleaned by little cleaner fish. They're called surgeonfish because they all have a sharp spine at the base of their tail. And if you try to grab one of them, it can give you a very bad cut. This is the big round spot surgeonfish. There's probably a dozen types of surgeonfish that call the Liberty shipwreck home. These are the beautiful palette surgeonfish. They're only about 5 inches long, extremely colorful. You see these out more on the sand. There's several different types of goatfish that live out on the sand around the shipwreck. The yellow striped goatfish and the freckled goatfish. And these goatfish here are feeding with their little tubercles, looking for crustaceans under the sand. Then at the bottom of the shipwreck, you'll often see these gigantic black-spotted moray eels. They also hang out with these garden eels out on the sand. When you get a little too close to these garden eels, they back down in their holes in the sand. This is a big Titan triggerfish. These get about 2.5 feet long and they have incredibly strong jaws, and they bite off part of the shipwreck to digest the food that's growing on the shipwreck. These are the Fulicers and the bluefin trevally that swim around the exterior of the shipwreck looking for small fish to eat. And then you'll have these really cool catfish that live at the bottom of the wreck. One of my favorite fish that lives on the shipwreck is this giant 4-foot-long bumphead parrotfish. These are really amazing big fish. Sometimes you'll see them by themselves. Other times you'll see them in pretty big schools. This fish has been overfished in much of Indonesia, so it's really a treat to see them hang out on the shipwreck, and they're so tame. There's several different types of parrotfish that live in and around Liberty shipwreck, and at nighttime they come and sleep at the bottom of the shipwreck where they're protected from sharks and other predator species. Several different types of wrasse call the Liberty shipwreck home, and then in the caves you'll often find these groupers. They're ambush predators, so the coral grouper here and the saddle grouper will sit motionless to eat a small fish. The tasseled scorpionfish remains there also motionless. Divers go right on by him without even being able to see him. Scuba diving on this shipwreck is just amazing for being a photographer. Every creature that lives in the ocean around the Liberty Shipwreck is hanging out all in the same spot. There's also an amazing amount of invertebrates that call the Liberty Shipwreck home. These are different types of sponges. There's probably 100 different species. These sponges and also soft corals filter the water around the Liberty Shipwreck to keep it clean. This is a big barrel sponge. Soft corals grow all over the walls on the shipwreck. These are the little coral polyps. Those are the ones that have the colors, and they get their colors from dissolved minerals in the seawater. You have to turn on bright lights to see the beautiful colors though. They're soft, unlike a hard coral. If you actually touched one, it would bend. They're every color of the rainbow. These are the really cool pipe corals that are out filter feeding. They live down on the sand around the shipwreck. There's lots of different types of starfish that live on the shipwreck. These are the beautiful feather stars. These are actually an animal, not a plant. This is one of the really neat thorny oysters. You get close to them and they'll close up. They're about 6 inches wide. And then there's all kinds of different gorgonians, sea squirts, different sea fans. This is a granular sea star, a blue velvet sea star. Lots of different beautiful invertebrates call the Liberty Shipwreck home. And some unusual corals that grow. Most of these corals are what are called encrusting corals. They grow over the surface and not stand up real tall. There's a few nudibranch species that live on the shipwreck. These nudibranchs are called nudibranch, which means nude gills, and that's the feathery structure on the top of their gills. Down around the base of the shipwreck, sometimes you'll find these really amazing harlequin shrimp. These little shrimp are only 2 inches long, but they have huge pinchers and they look like they're doing a karate dance. This is one of the day octopus. What's more common in the waters here in Indonesia than the octopus are these big broad club cuttlefish. These critters are absolutely amazing. They get to be about 1.5 feet long. They move very slowly backwards, and they can change colors, pattern, and shape faster than almost any animal on Earth. This is the very same one that had the smooth pattern at the start of the video clip. You can sit with one of these for a half an hour to an hour and just watch them change into 100 different shapes and colors during that period of time. Sometimes they'll congregate around the ship for breeding and just put on an amazing show to all the scuba divers there. These cuttlefish are very intelligent creatures. They don't have much fear of people if they're not hunted in the area. And at one time were very, very rare because they were overfished. But now they're coming back, especially in the areas that are marine protected areas and dive areas like around the Liberty Shipwreck. At nighttime, you'll see these big, painted, spiny lobsters crawling around, and from time to time, you might even see a sea snake there. Thank you for watching our underwater tour of the Liberty Shipwreck in Bali. It's just an amazing place to do a scuba dive, and there's also lots of islands all throughout Indonesia that have great dive sites. If you would like to see some of our other Indonesian underwater movies, please go to our website at underwater2web.com and our YouTube at underwater2web. Thank you for watching.